There doesn't seem to be as much pressure. Do you want him to just step aside, get himself out of the way?
I think he's got absolutely no chance. I think he's going to get smashed to pieces.
Tyson Fury is giving a serious warning to Jake Paul. He says that Anthony Joshua is on a completely different level. According to Fury, Joshua is a total machine who can beat anyone in his way. For Jake Paul, it would be much safer to back out before facing a crushing defeat. Tyson Fury makes it clear, Anthony Joshua is not just strong, he is unstoppable.
It's come and gone. It's gone past 5 o'clock Monday. No contract.
John Fury is speaking out and doesn't hold back on Jake Paul. He says Anthony Joshua's power is unbelievable and unmatched. In his straightforward style, he makes it clear that any other outcome would be impossible. John Fury warns everyone, Jake Paul doesn't stand a chance.
Anthony Joshua could knock Jake Paul out with his dick. So if it goes any other way...
Eddie Hearn, the professional boxing promoter, recognizes Jake Paul's hard work and improvement in the ring. But he makes it clear that, despite his efforts, Jake Paul is still far from Anthony Joshua's level. Eddie points out that Joshua's skill and experience make this fight heavily one-sided. No matter how much Jake Paul has improved, he is still outmatched.
Easy night's work, and it would be massive. And Jake's smart. Look, I know that we have our back and forth. Jake's improving as a fighter, and you have to respect the fact that he's dedicated not just to the business, but also to the hard graft of boxing. I still don't think he's particularly good, but he's a decent...
Anthony Joshua, focused and disciplined, says his main goal is to do his job in the ring. He stays completely professional, leaving no room for distractions or excuses. His mindset shows why he is a true champion and why Jake Paul will have a hard time against such a disciplined fighter.
I have to do my job. It's the only thing that's in my mind right now, and there's no extra time in boxing. Yeah, so yes, I have to do my job, and that's what I'm just thinking about.
Eddie Hearn, the professional boxing promoter, says he can't believe Jake Paul pulled out of the fight. He points out the huge financial stakes, calling the decision both absurd and disappointing. Eddie sees it as a missed opportunity for Jake Paul to face Anthony Joshua, while also highlighting the clear difference in skill and reputation between them.
To pull out with all the money that's been spent and for squeaky bum time is not the way forward. And I think Jake Paul's game.
Tony Bellew, former world champion, doubts that the Jake Paul fight will even happen. He points out that Anthony Joshua's power is immediate and overwhelming, and that even a light hit from Joshua is enough to threaten any opponent. Tony's comments make it clear that Jake Paul is far out of his depth.
He doesn't believe that the Jake Paul fight's going to actually happen?
I'm not really sure. I don't know.
Tom Little, the analyst, admits that Jake Paul has some ability, but he makes it clear that Anthony Joshua is on a completely different level. He predicts that Jake Paul will reach the limits of his skills and might even struggle under pressure. This commentary highlights Anthony Joshua's superiority and Jake Paul's inexperience at the top level.
I'm not saying he can't fight, I'm not saying he's rubbish, I'm not saying he's useless, but we will see how good he is. And if I'm right in what I'm saying, he'll quit.
David Haye, former world champion, compares Jake Paul directly to Anthony Joshua, pointing out the huge difference in size and skill. He says that even at his best, Jake Paul can only reach a small part of Joshua's level. David's insight shows why Anthony Joshua is the dominant fighter and why the fight is clearly in his favor.
Jake Paul can come 15-20% in regards to Anthony Joshua. He's a completely different specimen. Look, you'll see what it looks like when they stand next to him.
Joe Rogan highlights the serious threat Anthony Joshua poses to Jake Paul. He describes Joshua as a one-punch knockout artist with legendary, unstoppable power. The way Joshua defeated Francis Ngannou shows that Jake Paul is completely outclassed. Rogan emphasizes that even stepping into the ring with Joshua would be risky, and any attempt by Jake Paul to challenge him would be reckless. Joshua's mix of skill, experience, and raw power puts him far beyond the reach of a YouTuber in professional boxing, leaving no room for doubt.
Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
I mean, Anthony Joshua's one of the biggest one-punch KO artists. What he did to Francis Ngannou, good lord.
Yes.
Johnny Nelson suggests that Jake Paul may be more motivated by money than real competition. He says the big paychecks from fighting weaker opponents haven't prepared him for Anthony Joshua. Nelson warns that facing Joshua would be disastrous and could serve as a harsh reality check for Jake Paul. With Joshua's size, power, and skill, Any overconfidence from Paul would be quickly punished. Nelson makes it clear that Joshua is far above Paul and that this fight was never truly competitive.
Paul himself might be cashing out because the big purses that he's pulling, fighting these has-beens or ex-fighters, they're dropping slowly but surely. So maybe, just maybe, this might be his last fight, getting in there with Anthony Joshua and getting knocked out.
Tony Bellew explains the harsh reality of facing Anthony Joshua. He points out that Joshua's size, height, and weight give him a huge advantage, making Jake Paul's chances very slim. Bellew emphasizes that theory means nothing until they step into the ring, but even then, Joshua's power and experience would take over immediately. He describes Joshua as nearly unstoppable and makes it clear that Jake Paul competing on equal terms is unrealistic. The fight would be over quickly, showing why Joshua is a top-tier heavyweight.
Anthony Joshua, who's now 5 inches bigger than you, maybe more, or 4 or 5 inches, and about 100 pounds heavier. You just don't go from there right up to there. I don't believe it. And I won't believe it until the two of them got 10-ounce gloves on in a boxing ring. Because if Anthony Joshua puts 10-ounce gloves on and gets in a boxing ring and Jake Paul is in the other corner, this won't last long.
Anthony Joshua shows his frustration and determination as he calls out Jake Paul for cancelling the fight. He comes across as a fighter ready to face any challenge and unwilling to be manipulated. Joshua's mindset proves he is fully in control, focused, and mentally stronger than Jake Paul. By saying there's no dodging, he exposes Jake Paul's weakness and fear. Joshua's confidence and readiness stand in stark contrast to Paul's indecision, making it clear who is the dominant fighter. He is not only physically stronger, but also mentally unshakable.
This guy, if I'm fighting that guy, I'm going to fight that guy. There's none of this dodge him or dodge that. That's none of my business.
Logan Paul is shocked and can't believe Jake Paul pulled out of the fight. Even those close to him see how strange the decision was. His reaction highlights the pressure Jake Paul is under and shows Anthony Joshua's power and reputation. Logan's surprise emphasizes that Joshua is respected and feared by everyone in boxing. This shows that Joshua not only has skill but also mental dominance. Jake Paul's choice to pull out looks like a desperate move against an opponent far beyond his level.
I was the first person to see it and I was like, dude, fuck, bro, this is wild. I can't believe this is happening. I immediately felt really bad.
Johnny Nelson says that Jake Paul's decision to pull out of fighting Anthony Joshua shows a lack of professionalism at this level. He hints there may be other reasons, but it mostly highlights the pressure and fear Jake Paul feels. Anthony Joshua's presence in the ring is so strong that even a fighter used to media attention can make a poor decision. This shows Joshua's dominance both physically and mentally. Jake Paul is clearly outmatched, and Nelson emphasizes that Joshua controls the fight and its outcome even before stepping into the ring.
Happen. This is a one-round job because AJ, even though he's past his best, even though he's seen better days, he throws a nice 1-2 down the middle. He's got a nice bit of distance, and fake Paul can't fight. He just can't. I don't care what anybody tells me. He can't fucking fight. He lost to Tommy Fury for crying out loud.
Moses Idema acknowledges that Jake Paul has improved in boxing, but he makes it clear that no one expects him to compete with Anthony Joshua. While respecting Jake Paul's work ethic, he points out that Joshua's Olympic background and multiple world championships put him in a completely different league. Even a skilled YouTuber like Jake Paul is far from Joshua's level. The commentary emphasizes that Joshua's experience, skill, and power are overwhelming. Despite any praise for Jake Paul, he cannot match Joshua in a real fight, showing that Joshua's dominance is inevitable.
I don't think anybody's expecting anything from Jake Paul. Like, he's fighting an Olympic gold medalist, 2-time heavyweight champion of the world. But this YouTuber, like, do you know what? You got to take your hat off to Jake Paul. He's done amazing. He's done very well. And even me, I don't think he's a bad boxer. I actually think he's a decent boxer, but they're not on the caliber of obviously.
Duke McKenzie says that Anthony Joshua respects the sport and would never underestimate Jake Paul. But at the same time, Jake Paul is completely outmatched. Joshua's preparation, athleticism, and boxing knowledge make him a nightmare for any unproven fighter. McKenzie points out the huge difference between a world-class athlete like Joshua and a YouTuber in the ring. Joshua's speed, power, and skill would expose every weakness, leaving Jake Paul vulnerable from the first bell. This shows that Joshua is experienced, methodical, and overwhelmingly superior, making Jake Paul's chances in the fight almost impossible.
I don't think Anthony Joshua would take Jake Paul lightly, any way, shape or form, and he'd be so easy to hit. You're talking about a trained athlete.
The final section is shaping up to be explosive as Anthony Joshua is ready to show why he is a two-time world heavyweight champion and an Olympic gold medalist. Experts from Tyson Fury to Carl Froch have all pointed out the huge gap in skill, power, and experience between Joshua and Jake Paul. The warnings are clear. Jake Paul is completely out of his depth. Joshua's focus, preparation, and raw talent make him a machine in the ring, capable of ending this mismatch quickly. Jake Paul's bravado can't hide the fact that stepping into the ring with Joshua would be a career-defining mistake. No matter how tough, a YouTuber cannot match the discipline and ferocity of a real champion. Are you backing Anthony Joshua to dominate and prove why he is a true heavyweight powerhouse? Or do you think Jake Paul could shock everyone with an impossible upset? Share your thoughts below.